Hello everyone. It is a nice Wednesday morning here. It's around 8:40 a.m. here in Chicago. Now, previously I told you that it was getting quite cold and there was a lot of snow, but you don't need to just take my word for it. Now it's time to look at it. If I swing my camera, look at all of this, bro. It is just nuts. It's quite preposterous, let me tell you. And when I go outside, there's slush all over the ground. I have to make sure that I don't slip. But then, not only that, when the air touches your skin, it feels like you're getting bitten. You wear the gloves, and they work for a while, but once you're there for an extended amount of time, my fingertips, they start like freezing out. And my shoes, they're boots. And you would think if it's a hard boot, your feet would be totally fine. But these boots don't really have like a lot of fur under them like previous boots that I've had. And so while they kind of work, after a while, they start to get pretty cold. And this is all to say that when I go to class, I have to walk there. It's about 0.7 miles. And then I have to walk between classes and then I walk back. And usually I take 2 trips. So in total, it's about 3 to 4 miles of walking. When it's 65 to 70 degrees outside, that's perfectly fine. Once it starts getting to the 20s and 10s and zeros, it actually starts adding up. And I find myself, I'm in class. The clock is ticking down, it's 10 minutes left. And typically, once that clock hits 0, I just start darting to my dorm room because I just want to lay on the bed and just start getting ready to either go to sleep and take a nap or just be on my computer and just kind of veg out. But now, increasingly, I dread that walk so much that I have to think twice. I'm like, am I sure that there's not something else that I want to do here before I go back? Because I know definitely once I come here, I don't really want to go. I don't want to like just be walking around for no reason. We are headed towards the last couple of weeks. In fact, this is the second to last week of the fall quarter here at the University of Chicago. And the work is starting to pile up. It's really starting to pile up. In just like 4 hours, I'm gonna have to turn in a presentation that I did, a recorded presentation that I haven't recorded yet, over a software product, an AI RAGBot, retrieval augmented generation project that we did with Argonne National Laboratory. So I'm gonna have to record that, and then I'll submit it. And then later today, I'm gonna have to write an essay that I'm gonna be submitting tomorrow for my science, culture, and medicine class. And then we have an additional project for data ethics. And then we have another project for data visualization. And then we have a final paper for my science, culture, and medicine that has nothing to do with the essay that's due tomorrow. And then there's a bunch of other things in between. This is all within 2 weeks. And so I'm kind of like freaking out a little bit. Now, I wonder how other people are doing. How are they navigating their classes? Do they feel a little bit of fatigue? Do they wonder how they're going to make everything work? Do they get anxiety over the fact that they might potentially miss an assignment and get a 0 or even forget an assignment even exists? Or are they figuring everything out all fine and they don't have to worry about anything? For me, I'm just constantly in a state of, what if I just miss something? Or even if I know everything that's going on, it's just the idea that I know that even if I go full 100% over the next couple of days, it doesn't just stop at a couple of days. Then there's another entire set of assignments and it just keeps going and it just gets exhausting. And this is what college is all about. It's about testing you. And if you're taking a rigorous course load, it's going to be rigorous. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it still sucks, but that's just life. I can't wait though. Once break is over, or once this quarter is over in a week and a half, and then I go to a winter break or Christmas break, it's gonna be pretty good. So that's a first thing that I want to talk about. The course load in college. Everybody, when they go into college, they say, I want to make sure that I really make the most out of it. And then when the time comes in those couple of weeks where it really starts getting tough, you're like, man, do I really want this? Do I really want this? And those are the moments where you have to stay sharp, you have to stay tough, and you have to just put your head through. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of moments like this. It still sucks though. I have in my future right now, I'm doing some job applications. I'm applying to jobs. Hopefully I'll get some work afterwards. And once I do get a job, that will take a weight off my shoulder. I'm applying to a bunch of jobs. You just apply and you apply and you apply. And there gets to a point where it becomes a little bit numb. It does, I apply, I fill out the thing, I put in my resume. Sometimes they make you create an account like when it's Workday. And every single time it's like that, it's a bore. But what I mean when I say you get numb to it is that you apply and then within a couple of days they send an email and you could just read like 2 seconds of the title and you already know, oh, this is a rejection. Sorry, but we've picked more qualified people for this position. And it sucks because it's like, I don't know. It's like sometimes it just feels like you're just yelling into the void, or you're just continuously just throwing shit into the fire. But I assume eventually it's going to happen. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that unemployment's starting to go up. You wouldn't know because we didn't get job numbers this month. Or we didn't get job numbers for October, but I assume unemployment's going up. It seems to be going up, especially so for entry-level white-collar jobs. And there's a little bit of an anxiety about it. I think I have a good resume. You know what I did? I built a data center infrastructure management dashboard where it tracks different metrics for a data center. It does like a simulation and then it tracks it and allows you to do predictive maintenance. And what this does is that it makes sure that the uptime stays very high and make sure that it functions well. So it's like some kind of like more applied project for what I assume to be is going to be a job around the data centers, but it could be something else. I think my resume is quite good, but with the way that this, and I'm not one to like blame everything on the economy, but the way that this economy is, you apply and you apply and you apply and you just get rejected again and again and again. And each time you just have to say, that is what it is, and you just keep going, but it doesn't make it suck any less. And yeah, you get a little numb to it, but it's a kind of shitty numb. That's my class, that's my day, that's my thoughts as of recent. It's cold. It feels like my skin's getting bitten off. My fingertips and my feet feel cold. I get tired of walking. I'm just like, I just want to get to my dorm. My class load, it's bothering me. It's too much work. I feel like it's an endless, I feel like Sisyphus. I feel like I'm endless moving up a mountain. I'm applying to jobs and I'm not getting jobs. And I'm stuck wondering, does it get better? Is there a better future out there? There is. I'm sure there's a better future. And my present isn't even that bad, but there are definitely stretches where things are going rough. So those are the things that I'm having to deal with now. But let's talk less about the negatives and let's talk about what are some positives, what are some exciting things going on. I have been trying out increasingly Gemini 3.0. It's my favorite model. It is incredible. I use the Gemini, go to the Gemini website, and I use it to ask questions, clarifying questions. I use it to do research, and it is just incredible. And especially when it comes to just like being concise and putting in the important bits, it's very good. I also use Gemini in an IDE called Anti-Gravity. It's a product that Google released alongside their Gemini 3.0 model on November 18th. And it is a really nice product. One of the things that it does that Visual Studio Code hasn't been able to do in the past is that it runs your application. And then since it has such good multimodality, it's able to use the application and then record whatever happens and then refeed that into it. And so it kind of like it fully completes that self-driving loop. And that's what really makes the agentic part of it really cool. And so between Gemini, using the website, and using Gemini 3.0 High through the Anti-Gravity IDE, the development environment, I'm getting a lot of benefits out of it. Additionally, and maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, but it's probably no deal. The presentation I'm doing, that's doing a couple hours that I need to get to, I created the presentation, the Google Slides, using Gemini. I fed it a comprehensive document for my project, including all the specifications of the project. I included, its architecture, what we did, our purpose, our goal, just a typical summary of what the project's about. This is the project I'm talking about, and the presentation I'm talking about is for building a RAG chatbot with Argonne, for Argonne National Laboratory. You fill out all of it. I fill out like a document of just what the project's about and what we're doing. Then I feed it 2 examples that they provide me for what the presentation is supposed to look like. And then I add the grading and the rubric. And I say, design me a slice that's going to help me do this presentation. And I do it, and it creates 12 slides. And all I have to do is tinker it a little bit. But what would otherwise take me like 3 to 4 hours to create some nice presentation that's all sleek and all of that, I can do it in like 15 minutes. I am getting a lot of value out of the AI. I completely understand people who are hesitant towards it. One of the biggest hesitancies I have about AI is that it kind of removes the truth of it all, particularly when it comes to images. We're now at the point where with Nano Banana Pro, you look at the images, I can't tell anymore. I really just can't. And there's other models out there that they have like similar quality. They've like removed the gloss of it. And now you look at these and it's just hyper realistic. It's like, what? And don't count on watermark saving you. There's easy ways to get rid of them. And so it's kind of weird the fact that in the future, for basically the rest of all of our lives, we're never going to be able to like really 100% verify that a photo is real, which is kind of crazy. That I'm worried about AI. And another thing that I'm worried about when it comes to AI is the fact that we don't really, if it continues to be really good at so many things, so like it started off by being pretty good at copywriting. So that was like the first thing to go. Then it started to slowly develop as like a research tool. Okay, that's fine. And then it started going into the visual element. Then it started creating art. And the first thing it started doing was like the cartoonish kind of art, and it was really good at it. And then, they did some Studio Ghibli art and stuff. And now it's creating hyper-realistic art. And now it's creating VFX art. And now you used to say that coding was an amplifier for software engineers instead of a replacement. And it'll always be that to some extent. But now it's at the point where the agentic is so strong that you never really have to look at the code anymore. Now it is truly agentic, especially with the fact that with anti-gravity, you can load an application, you start running it, and then the IDE will test out that application, do a test run, see the output, and feed it and iterate off of that. Now, increasingly, software engineering is just having ideas. It's just having ideas and features in your mind, putting them into it, just kind of looking at what's going on and pressing buttons every once in a while to continue the agentic stuff. And that's basically it. And so the fact that it is like getting increasingly, and another thing is Suno with the music. the way that they're now able to generate really high quality music. Between software engineering and art and music and different forms of writing, Claude is incredibly good at writing. One of the things that I worry about AI is that it takes away a way to express excellence. Imagine dedicating so much of your life to practicing, to being really good at something, whether it's being a good writer, and this is always going to exist to some capacity, but being a good writer, being in FL Studio and creating some great art, or Audacity and creating some really cool art. I know music, some really good music, being a really good art creator, or being like really good at software engineering, particularly in understanding the syntax. And then a product comes out and it just completely blows you away. It's like, well, now we're all on the same page. And so the fact that it's becoming increasingly hard to demonstrate excellence, I think, is one of the drawbacks of AI that I completely sympathize with. And so when I go on Twitter and people are always like complaining about like data center electricity or water, I don't think these are real problems. Water is definitely not a real problem because these data centers, they recycle water. So the water used, and not only that, but they don't even use that much water. All right. So the water thing's fake. The electricity thing's more real, but the solution to that, just like any shortage, is just building more supply, just building out more energy. But I think the real like intentionality behind people who like hate, who express their frustrations at water or electricity is really just the fact that a lot of these people, you know, they might like be artists and stuff. They see a model coming out and it's just, the fact that it's so great at so many things, it kind of takes away the fact that them to express the level of uniqueness and a level of excellence that they used to have, but now they submit their art, and the only thing that really makes it special is that it might have imperfections that an AI otherwise wouldn't have. And so there's kind of a beauty in imperfection, but it's kind of suck to say what makes my art unique is that it's not perfect. But yeah, that is the thing. And so the fact that AI, number one, takes away truth, and second away, it makes it harder to express excellence, I think that is going to be a recurring grievance that a lot of people have. The purpose of this episode isn't really any episode. I got on here because I wanted to just talk about my general thoughts and the feelings that I have. We talked about school, and we talked about we talked about job applications, we talked about the weather, and we talked about AI. I'm overall a slight AI optimist, not even slight, probably a meaningful AI optimist. I think it will lead to a lot of productivity improvements. But I understand why people feel the way that they do. And one of the things that I've increasingly had when I'm thinking about politics or economics, I disagree on economic takes with a lot of people who express, like more like socialist beliefs and something, but I've never really felt in any of this that people who express economic beliefs, that it's rooted in that in any way is like kind of like a sign of like enemies or being destructive. When you look at it from their point of view, and if you look at their life, or you look at their life experiences and their perspectives, it's way easier to understand why they believe the way that they do. One of the problems that we have in politics is just because somebody has an opposite view of you, it might not be that they is driven by grievance, or that it's driven by hate, or that sometimes it is, to be clear. But it's not always the case that it's like evil or they're bad people. Sometimes they genuinely believe that they're right. And then they just have to have different views. And so when you're navigating being able to explain your ideology or explain your point of view when it comes to politics, not just politics, but anything in life where there's some level of argumentation necessary, it's important to have, first of all, show your work, show your thought process, why you're talking about the things that you are talking about. And then also you really should put in effort to show a level of compassion and empathy for them, and try to see why they believe that the way that they do. And by doing that and finding a way to connect that's going to make you a much more effective communicator. And it also will maybe even lead to some introspection to make you realize that maybe you're the person who's wrong who believes that you're right. And so it's always important to like empathy and compassion. Some people, especially some like very right-wing people, think of empathy and compassion as some like loser thing, but I think it's actually really important. Having those and those traits and being able to practice them on a regular basis, I think it lets you have a more comprehensive view of the world and allows you to to better connect with other people and better communicate them. And that actually allows you to come to better ways of how we should conduct society, how we should design policy, and just how we should we should get to solutions of problems. That's enough rambling for me today. I do need to get to my presentation. I am grateful to be here, even through all of the hardships, even through all of the frustrations, even through all of the exhaustion. I'm happy to be here, and I'll continue to make the best of it. So I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Who even knows what we're going to talk about? I bet it's going to be something pretty exciting, and you guys should stay tuned. All right, I'll see you. Peace.